All right, let's talk about how business credit cards really work. I'm talking about real business credit cards, the ones you can get without personal guarantees, without personal credit checks, without collateral, without cash flow verification. Basically, credit cards that any business can get, even if you're just launching your business today. So this need to be differentiated from other credit cards. A lot of people call business credit cards different things. Like in my mind, in my world, true corporate business credit cards do not require personal guarantees. They're not personal liability for you. There's no personal credit checks, but you have to know what's different about these kind of credit cards and how to actually get them so you don't end up getting the ones that do have credit checks and do have guarantees and do have lower limits and all the things you don't want. So in this training, I'm going to map out how business credit cards really work, how to get them without a personal guarantee, what separates them from other kinds of business credit cards, what separates them from consumer credit cards, what you need to look out for and stay away from when you're getting credit cards, what you need to lean into and look to find when you're getting business credit cards. And you're going to walk away from this training with a clear roadmap, a clear blueprint on how to get real business credit cards without a personal guarantee and credit checks. We got a lot to cover. Let's dive in and get going. So first of all, let's talk about the difference between business and consumer credit cards versus business and other type of business credit cards. Business credit cards and consumer credit cards are very similar in a lot of different ways, right? They both function the same way. You're given a limit, you put on a balance, the higher the balance in regards to the limit, the less money you have to spend. All those things are very similar. But the difference is that real business credit cards versus consumer credit cards have substantially higher limits. Now, SBA says that the limit on a business credit card is 10 to 100 times higher than a consumer credit card. So what that means is it means that if you are getting about $1,000 credit card limit now, well, in the business space, within months, you'll be getting $10,000 to $100,000 limit cards. If you're getting $10,000 limit credit cards now, well, in the business space, you're going to be getting $100,000 plus limit credit cards in the business space. So one of the big differences between consumer and business credit cards is that the limits are substantially higher on business credit cards. Now, this is very important for a reason. The reason is that consumer credit cards were never designed to fund a business. It's why their limits are so low. So business credit cards have these really high limits because us as entrepreneurs, we have a greater appetite for spending. So it's a huge difference between them. Now, another difference between consumer and commercial credit cards is that business credit cards truly help separate your credit profile, meaning consumer credit cards report to the consumer credit reporting agencies. Okay, they help you build personal credit. Business credit cards, if done the way I'm going to map out today, report to the business credit reporting agencies. So they're helping you build business credit. They're also helping you separate consumer and commercial credit. You don't have credit cards that you're using for your business reporting on your consumer credit. That's weird and harmful. And you don't have business credit cards that are used to grow your business affecting your consumer credit because that affects your ability to get mortgages and car loans and all that kind of stuff. We have to create this separation for a reason. First reason is we need to separate our liability. Like as entrepreneurs and business owners, I don't want to be personally liable for my business debts. So when we have business credit cards versus consumer credit cards, business credit cards, we can get them the right way, as I'm going to map out today, without guarantees. I'm not personally liable for my business debts. Now, the other reason this is important is because of that reporting. I want business credit cards to report on my business credit reporting agencies and help my business qualify for more money. And I don't want them to affect my ability as a consumer to be able to get loans and car and mortgages and credit cards and everything I need to get as a consumer as well. And Jen Jones is in the house coming in. Thank you very much for saying hello. Mike South is in the house from St. Louis. What's up, Mike? Always love having you here. Thanks for coming in. Okay, so now that we kind of know the difference between business and consumer credit cards, let's talk about the difference between no personal guarantee corporate credit cards and what other people call business credit cards. So there's two types of business credit cards that you may find. One requires personal guarantees. They require personal credit checks. As a matter of fact, you need to have better credit to get one of those types of business credit cards than any other kind of consumer credit card. Like getting real business credit cards that do require a guarantee and do require a credit check. Those are really hard to qualify for. Like we see people denied when they have a 720 FICO score. So business credit cards that require a guarantee and credit check are way harder to qualify for. And you have to have really, really, really good credit to get them. Now, and they also report sometimes to a business and a consumer reporting agency. Sometimes they report nowhere. Sometimes they just report to a consumer reporting agency. Sometimes business is kind of messy. Okay, the other type of credit card is like a business credit card or a corporate credit card that doesn't require a personal guarantee. It doesn't require a personal credit check. These are ones that you could build a credit profile for your business. You could build a credit score for your business. And the bigger that credit score and profile gets for your business, the more of these credit cards you can qualify for without a personal guarantee, no personal liability, without a personal credit check, not based on personal credit quality, no inquiries on your personal credit report. So you have to know these three differences, right? We don't want consumer credit cards to fund our business. We do want business credit card, but there's two types of credit cards we can choose. If I'm starting a business today and I have good personal credit and I don't mind providing a personal guarantee, then I might look at these business credit cards that are based on my personal credit, like credit card stacking. I might want to get those. But then the other kind of credit doesn't require a guarantee. It doesn't require a credit check. It doesn't require revenue verification or collateral. It's one of the easiest forms of capital to get because anybody can get it as long as you start a business. And that's the kind of credit I'm going to talk about today. It's oftentimes called corporate credit. Some people refer to it as business credit. Some people refer to it as no PG business credit. But this is the credit you can get without the personal guarantee and without the personal credit check. Now, that being said, to look at the difference between these three, consumer credit cards are the most harmful for you for a lot of reasons. First of all, the limits are way lower than business credit cards. Secondly, they report to a consumer reporting agency. And that's a problem because 30% of your consumer FICO score is utilization. Think of it like this. 30% of your consumer credit score is utilization. The difference between your balance and your limit, right? 35% of your consumer credit score is whether you pay your bill on time or not. So if you look at the math of the consumer FICO score, by carrying a high balance on your credit card, you mathematically are damaging your score almost as much as paying that bill late. It's very common to see credit scores drop 50 to 100 points, even because you just keep higher balances on the credit cards. I've literally seen somebody a $200 increase to their balance and drop their credit score over 100 points. Their limits weren't very high. So when they increased the balance by just $200, that proportion to their limit was so out of whack that it lowered their credit score by over 100 points. So this is the problem with consumer credit cards being used to fund a business. Their limits are lower. Putting balances on them hurts your score, and oftentimes it could drop your score as much as 50 to 100 points just by using them. Now, business credit cards that do report, or business credit cards that do require a guarantee and credit check, there's nothing wrong with those. If you have good credit, if you're okay to provide a personal guarantee and credit check, you can get those, no problem. But eventually, you want to grow up in your business. And by growing up, I mean, eventually you want to get away from personal guarantees. You want to get away from personal credit checks. These kind of corporate credit cards are where we really want to get to, because this is like where we made it. Like, this is how we know we made it. Like, our business can stand on its own. Our business is qualifying for its own credit. It doesn't need my personal credit check. It doesn't need my personal guarantee. Like, that's eventually where we all want to graduate to, where the business can stand on its own and getting its own credit cards, not these other two types of credit cards that we've actually talked about. Okay, so that being said, what do we look for in these business credit cards? Well, first of all, we need to look for credit cards that do not require a personal credit check. You will see that personal credit check and guarantee are almost synonymous. I mean, they're almost exactly the same. If a credit card is going to ask for my personal guarantee, you could almost bet that it's going to ask for a personal credit check from you as well. And it's going to make the decision based on personal credit quality. So we want a credit card that doesn't require a personal credit check, that doesn't require a personal guarantee, and therefore is not based on my personal credit quality. And that also means we can get credit. Those credit cards don't have an inquiry on my credit report. So it doesn't hurt my credit report to get the credit card, and it doesn't hurt my credit report to use the credit card. So that's the kind that we really want to look for. We want business credit cards that report to a business credit reporting agency, preferably Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and or Experian. And this helps us continue to build business credit. The key to qualifying for credit and financing without a guarantee, without credit checks, is that we need to get stuff added to our business credit reports. So even if I find a business credit card that's not based on personal credit quality, I still want to make sure it reports to a business credit reporting agency because I want to get credit for that. I want other lenders and other credit issuers to see I got that credit, I'm using that credit. The more of those accounts show on my business credit reports, the more types of credit and financing become available without personal guarantees and credit checks. Now, you have to keep some in mind, it's not necessarily always bad if they don't report to a business credit reporting agency. I'm going to give you two really good examples: Best Buy and Apple. Neither one of these report to a business credit reporting agency. Best Buy used to, they don't now. But they're good credit cards. Like, if you could get a $30,000 credit card at Best Buy and a $50,000 credit card at Apple, like that's not going to suck. Like those are good credit cards and they are in our business name. They don't require a guarantee. They don't require a credit check, but they don't help us build business credit. So it's okay to get business credit cards that don't report to a business credit reporting agency. Best Buy, Apple, good credit cards to have. If we have a choice, we'd like to see that we get credit cards that do report. But if they're credit cards we know we're going to use, like I'm buying a lot of electronics for my business, Best Buy can help me, then it's okay to get that even if it doesn't report. But if preferably, I would like to find credit cards that do report. So if we're looking for the perfect business credit card, we do not want them to require personal guarantees. We do not want them to require personal credit checks. They're not putting inquiries on our personal credit reports as a result. They're not making the approval decision based on our personal credit quality. And they are reporting to a business credit reporting agencies, so they're actually helping us build business credit. Now, what we want to avoid is we want to avoid any kind of consumer credit reporting. If that business credit card reports to a consumer credit reporting agency, we want to avoid it at all costs, even if it reports to a business credit reporting agency at the same time. So an example is a Capital One Spark credit card. A Capital One Spark credit card reports to a business credit reporting agency and a consumer reporting agency. We don't want to use this. We don't want to get one of these because then it hurts our personal credit, even if it's helping us build business credit. So we want to avoid these credit cards that report to a personal credit reporting agency or report to multiple business and consumer credit reporting agency. Okay, so now that we've figured out the kind of credit cards, now that we're narrowing down the kind of credit cards that we want, what types of these credit cards are there? Well, there's a few different categories. And DL, I am amazing. Thanks for asking me how I'm doing. How are you doing? Please let me know. And again, give me your company shout out right here in the chat. And then I'll give your company like a shout out here on the live stream. I'll get you like a bunch of thousands of people will see this like free advertising just by typing your company name in the chat. I'm not saving it or using it for any kind of crazy purpose besides giving you a shout out and saying hello. Okay, so now that we've narrowed this down and we're getting an idea of what we want to find, what kind of these business credit cards without personal guarantees, without personal credit checks, approvals are based on business credit quality, what kind of credit cards are out there? There's a few categories. One, we look at what are called starter cards. These are oftentimes called starter vendors. And these credit cards are vendors or credit cards we get with vendors that will give us credit when we have none. Like they're the first ones we start building business credit with. Granger is an example and Uline is an example. They can give me a credit line for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. I can use the credit card to buy stuff in their stores. They report the credit to a business credit reporting agency. They're helping me build business credit, and they will give me credit cards that will issue me credit lines, even if I don't have any other things on my business credit report. So these are good ones to start building business credit. They'll give us credit when they have none. They report to when we have none. They report to a business credit reporting agency. So they're really ones to start building business credit. That's why we call them starter vendors. Now, from starter vendors, next we move to what's called retail credit. Now, retail credit is credit like every major retailer, right? So almost every major retailer offers a credit card without a personal guarantee and without a personal credit check. So let's just take a look at some office supplies, Office Depot and Home Depot. Maybe I'm in a plumber in the plumbing business. Well, then I could get Home Depot and Lowe's. I can get Best Buy. I can get Apple. I'm able to get all kinds of, credit cards at, let's say, stores, Macy's, Nordstrom offer this kind of credit without personal guarantees or credit checks. Sam's Club, Costco. Like if you can think about a retailer, a lot of the retailers out there that sell stuff for adults, like no reason to do it for kids, right? They're going to give us credit without personal guarantees or credit checks. Walmart, Amazon, you get the idea. Like almost all retailers offer this kind of corporate credit. As a matter of fact, that's the biggest category of business credit that exists is credit cards that are issued by retailers for us to buy stuff in their stores. Now, keep in mind, a lot of our clients 30 to 60 days into this process are getting $30,000 to $50,000 credit limits on these credit cards. Like they're just starting to build business credit, and a month to 2 months in, they're getting $30,000 limits at Amazon, for example. Pretty helpful for growing your business. So this is something you want to change your mindset on a little bit. A lot of people are trying to get a Visa card, a MasterCard, an Amex card. It's not what you actually want to do. What you want to do is load up on as many retail credit cards as possible. If you see some of our testimonials and some of the best success stories out there for business credit building, they're always holding a stack of credit cards. Like they're showing you a stack. Well, that credit card stack is made up and comprised in large part of retail credit cards because that's what you want to do. I don't want to go use an Amex to buy everything for my business. What I want to do is I want to use HP to buy my computers, and I want to use Best Buy to buy my camera, right? And then I want to be able to buy Staples. I want to get my lights here. And Office Depot, I want to get my lights. And I want to be able to get my phone from Apple, right? So what this does is it lets me add a bunch of trade lines on my business credit report. I don't want to just have an Amex and only one account on my business credit report. I want to have HP. I want to have Apple. I want to have Best Buy, right? I want to have Dell. I want to have Office Depot and Staples. So now, even if I'm just buying some stuff here and there, now I have 6 trade lines instead of 1. Why does that matter? Because the more of these accounts reporting to a reporting agency, which is called a trade line, the more of these trade lines I have, the more types of credit and financing become available without a personal guarantee and credit check. So like if I want to get like retail credit, I should have about 5 accounts on my business credit reports. But if I want to get like a Visa card, I should have 14 accounts on my business credit reports. So the more accounts I'm adding to my business credit reports and using, the more types of money becomes available without guarantees and credit checks. So I don't want to just put all my spending on one card. That's not going to help me. I want to spread my spending out to HP, to Dell, to Apple, to anybody that reports. And then that way I've got multiple trade lines that are showing I'm using it. And that's going to make more lenders and more credit issuers inclined to approve you for credit lines, loans, and credit cards. It's a very important tip. Like you might have just missed that, but it's one of the most important tips of business credit building. Spread your spending out over as many accounts that report to the reporting agencies as you can and build as many trade lines as you can. It's a way to expedite your business credit building and qualify for more credit and more financing without personal guarantees and credit checks. So we talked about starter vendors. Then we also talked about retail credit. Now, the next tier of credit is called fleet credit. And fleet credit is like fuel, repairs, maintenance of vehicles. I don't use fleet credit. I work from home. I live in a city. I don't even drive very much because I'm like taking scooters and walking and taking like these dash cars that we have and Ubers everywhere. Like I don't drive, right? Drive my daughter to soccer practice. That's about it. I don't really drive much beyond that. So I don't need fuel cards. Like that doesn't make a difference in my life. But if I'm an over-the-road trucker, if I'm a tow truck company, if I'm in the transportation industry, or like my friend Sarah, she travels everywhere. She does sales all over the state of Florida. She's always somewhere different. Like she's in every different city all the time. So in that circumstance, then you probably want fleet credit cards to get repair of vehicles and maintenance of vehicles and fuel of vehicles. Like if you're an over-the-road trucker, it could cost you $600 to $1,000 just to fill your gas tank. That's the biggest expense you have. So fleet credit is for fuel, repair, and maintenance of vehicles. You need about 8 accounts on your business credit reports to get there. Then the last tier, the final tier of business credit building is what is called universal credit. Now, universal credit, sometimes called cash credit, are Visa cards, MasterCards, American Express credit cards. You need about 14 accounts on your business credit reports, and at least one of them has to have a $10,000 high limit to get those universal credit cards. So those are the different types of business credit cards without personal guarantees and credit checks there are. Starter vendors, we start building. Then we go to retail credit, credit at all the retailers. Then we go to fleet credit for fuel, repair, and maintenance of vehicles. Then we go to what's called universal credit, which is the final tier of business credit building. Now, DL's in the house says, hey, I got a business credit card from Amex for $14K and $7K from US Bank. Do I need to add a third business credit card or get a business line of credit? Well, it depends on you and what you're trying to do. Any kind of revolving credit you can get, you should get. So if you can get more credit cards, get them. But if you can qualify for a credit line right now, do that. And by the way, congratulations on your $14K and $7K approval. I love to hear that, DL. You're in here all the time following the training. So I'm glad that you're having this success. Got denied for Wells Fargo box credit card because I put my registered agent address on the application instead of my home address. Should I get the inquiries removed? I don't think you need to remove the inquiries. But again, it depends. Do they put personal inquiries on your credit report or not? If you can answer that question, I could better give you some instructions. Should I apply again my home address? I would apply again for the home address and then get approved. That's what I would do. I wouldn't go through the inquiry removal process. Before you do that, I would apply again before you go through the inquiry removal process. And Mike Sass says, what if you have no personal credit? Okay, so listen, maybe if you're coming in late, you want to go back and watch this from the beginning to get caught up. What I am talking about today is credit cards that require no personal credit check. Let me just stop there. Your personal credit quality doesn't matter. They're not going to look. Everything I'm talking about right now doesn't require a personal credit check. They're not even going to look at your personal credit. So I don't care if your credit's 850. I don't care if your credit score is 350. I don't care if you have zero personal credit. It doesn't matter. They're not even going to do a personal credit check. So everything that I'm talking about now doesn't require personal credit. So your personal credit does not matter. And DL says, hey, personal credit is good. Can build personal credit with 3 cards and 6 months of credit. You can get secure credit cards from U.S. Bank, get secure credit cards with rewards like unsecured, 6 months of payment. And Curtis has got $7,500 from Home Depot. So congratulations. So you guys are seeing firsthand, people are coming in the chat and they're saying, I got 7K, I got 14K, I got 7K. It works. Like the system absolutely works if you work it. And DL says, let me go back here and make sure I get it. 6 months of credit, no personal credit check. Okay, so I'm not sure if you're asking me, there are personal inquiries. Okay, so you don't need to remove those personal inquiries, but depends on how many you have. You don't want any more than 6 inquiries on your credit report in the last 6 months to start applying for U.S. Bank and those kind of credit cards. So if you have more than 6 inquiries on there to answer your question, DL, you might want to consider getting those inquiries removed. If they're unauthorized, if you don't recognize them, et cetera, things like that. But again, under 6, you're okay. More than 6, it's going to limit your ability to get those other kind of credit cards you're talking about. Okay, and keep in mind, there's multiple conversations happening here. I'm talking to you about credit that doesn't require a credit check, doesn't require a guarantee. DL is coming in here and saying, hey, I didn't mind offering a guarantee. I didn't mind offering a credit check. Here's the success I've had. What should I do in that scenario? So keep in mind, multiple conversations. But let's continue on with how to get business credit without personal guarantees or credit checks. So now that we've talked about the difference between personal credit, business credit with a guarantee, business credit without a guarantee. We talked about the benefits. We talked about the things to avoid, the things you want to know. We talked about the different tiers or types of business credit. The question is how do we start building business credit? Well, we have to start that bottom tier, which are starter vendors. And I'm not going to talk to you today about improving your lendability. You should be focused on that. You should be following my training where I talk about, getting your entity set up and your address and your phone number and your website, getting all that stuff set up, all kinds of training on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/credit suite that will walk you through all that. I'm going to skip all that for this conversation. What I want to talk about is the kind of credit cards you should get in what order. You're going to want to start building business credit 2 different ways. One, you can start the way that DL started here. DL started by providing a guarantee, providing a credit check. DL has good credit. So DL's fine to let them use personal credit and credit card stack and get multiple credit cards with high limits. That's how DL chose to start. You can absolutely do that. You can go to a credit card stacking company. You can follow my trainings on credit card stacking, and you can start stacking your own credit cards and get 3, 4, 5 or more credit cards without personal or with personal guarantees, with personal credit checks that report to the reporting agencies. You can absolutely do that. The other alternative are what are called starter vendors, which we talked about. Uline, Granger, CEO Creative. These kind of sources will give you credit when you have none, and they report to a business credit reporting agency. Anybody can get them. So I don't care how bad your credit is. I don't care if you don't have credit. You can start with these kind of vendors. Uline, Granger, CEO Creative. As a matter of fact, I'm going to throw something up right now. It is a step-by-step business credit building guide. And this business credit building guide will give you access to even more vendors that will help you build business credit as well. So if you want, you can scan this QR code. This will give you access to even more of these starter vendors. So we're going to start with starter vendors, right? Then we're going to make sure we get 5 accounts on our business credit reports. And then we can move to the next path of business credit building. And the next path with business credit building is we will then want to move to retail credit. Now, we want to get credit with retailers we're actually going to use and we actually need. So if I'm working in an office environment, I don't care about fuel cards. And if I'm an over-the-road trucker, then I don't care about credit at Office Depot because I don't need a desk. You get what I'm saying, right? So if I'm working in an office, I probably don't need credit at Home Depot because I'm not buying anything. But if I'm a plumber, then I probably do need credit at Lowe's and Home Depot, and I don't really need credit with HP because I don't usually have desktop computers, for example, right? So you want to find retail credit that's credit you actually need and want to use, right? So it's based on your industry. It's very industry specific. If you're a trucker, you're going to want fleet credit. If you're in an office, you're going to want Office Depot and Home Depot. If you're in the trades industry, you're going to want Home Depot and Lowe's. So you're going to start getting retail credit you're actually going to use, and you're going to freaking use it. You have to understand, your business credit reports are not going to show your credit limits. They're going to show the recent amount of credit you have used. So you don't want to get credit cards that you're not using. In order for you to build business credit, you've got to legitimately get credit that you're actually using, so it shows up on your credit report and you're getting credit for that history that you're actually accumulating by actually paying your bills on time or early. Okay, so now we want to come in. We want to start with starter vendors, get about 5. Then we want to start getting retail credit when we have about 5 accounts on our business credit reports. We want to start getting retail credit, fleet credit. And then we want to wait till we have one limit of $10,000 or higher and 14 total accounts on our business credit reports. And that's when we want to move to the final tier. Visa cards, MasterCards, Amex credit cards, auto financing without personal guarantees and credit checks. That's the order that we actually want to walk through. So keep in mind some other things to think about, some other tips. Get the credit, use the credit you get. Try to use the credit every 6 months so it still helps your business credit scores. Your business credit scores are based on how you pay your bills. So you need to make sure you're paying your bills on time or early. That's the key with having good business credit scores. If you ever are going to be late, pay your highest limit accounts first because they have more weight into your overall business credit scores than anything else. Remember, the amount of accounts you add to your business credit reports are what will increase the amount of money that the bureaus recommend you be given. So if you want higher loan amounts, higher credit line limits, higher credit card limits, then you need to make sure that you're adding as many accounts to your business credit reports as possible. Another tip, monitor your business credit reports. If you need help, you can go to creditsuite.com/monitoring. But you need to keep an eye on your business credit reports and don't just look at your trade lines. You have to look at that top section. Is your SIC code correct? Is your NIAX code correct? Is your business address, your business phone number, are all of these things correct? You need to make sure you're keeping up on all of that information as well, because that stuff can adversely affect your score. Like if a lender sees that your address and phone number is different on your business credit report than what they're seeing, they may think it's fraud and deny you. They oftentimes do. Okay, if you're in a high-risk NIAX code with DMD, it's going to adversely affect your scores. Well, maybe you're not even in that industry. Like a large part of people that enroll with us say they're in consulting. Like you're not in consulting, you're in an industry. If you're telling bureaus and lenders and credit issuers that you're in an industry you're not, that could actually come back and hurt you. So you need to monitor those business credit scores and profiles to make sure all that information is accurate and up to date as well. Okay, so let me answer any other questions that you actually have here. Okay, and DL says, thanks, Ty. Learned a lot from you over time. Appreciate it, DL. Thanks for the shout out. And I'm glad that you got your 7K approval, your 14K approval. I think you're just rolling, man. So congratulations. And DL, what kind of business trade lines do I need to establish to go from trucking and transportation to real estate, getting approved for buying land, homes, construction loans? So it's a good question. I'm actually going to pull this up on the screen. So when we think about real estate, think about it like this. Business credit is best used in real estate for the purpose of buying furniture, maintaining the property, rehabbing the property. Like you want to use cash credit, universal credit to buy the properties. Okay, cash out the credit cards and then use that to buy properties and other kind of loans and financing. And by the way, there's a lot of loans and financing out there, a lot of different kinds out there. We can use DSCR loans. We can use fix and flip loans. I mean, so many other ways out there. Go to youtube.com/credit suite. Ton of training on how to use business credit financing to be able to get into real estate. But business credit itself, without a personal guarantee, without a personal credit check, is best used for the maintenance and rehab of properties. I buy a property, I'm going to do a fix and flip. Business credit's good to go to Home Depot, go to Lowe's, buy the spackle, buy the flooring, buy the everything, the tools, the equipment, everything I need to actually do the rehab. Or maybe I'm going to buy a property and keep it. Well, business credit's really good to go to IKEA and go to all these other places to buy the furniture to furnish that property. Or maybe I need to do repairs on the property. Maybe I had a renter in there and they moved out and they damaged the property. Well, business credit's really good to getting all the stuff that I need to repair the property. Business credit is really good for normal maintenance of the property too. So maybe I have like something major go out, maybe an AC unit. I can go to Home Depot and buy an AC unit there. So it's very good on those big maintenance expenses for properties as well. So great question, DL. Business credit is really good in real estate for the fixing part of fix and flip, for maintaining properties, for rehabbing properties. That's the best use of business credit in those spaces. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. If you missed any part of this, go back to the platform that you're watching on, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn, and watch in its entirety. Today, we talked about the difference between consumer credit cards and the two different kind of business credit cards out there. We talked about the reasons you don't want consumer credit cards, why you need to find credit cards that don't report to the reporting agencies, what to actually look for in business credit cards. We talked about the different tiers of business credit that are out there and the order of credit that you're actually going to apply for. We talked about starting building business credit as well. And I gave you probably 10 of my best tips to help you expedite and to be able to get better results faster. If you want help along the way, scan this QR code or go to creditsuite.com/EIN. This guide has been downloaded over 1 million times. So it's kind of like the business credit building Bible. It gives you starter vendors. It tells you credit sources to apply for in each tier. It gives you a lot of detail about building business credit. Feel free to scan that QR code and check it out, or go to creditsuite.com/EIN. Hey, and if you got value from this training, smash the like button. Make sure you like and subscribe and keep your eye out for our next training. We talk about more cool ways to get the money you need to start and grow your business. Thanks for tuning in. Take care.